Hello guys, how are you doing? My name is C.H. Shivaji, Assistant Professor in the Department of ECE of SVPEC. I'm going to discuss about the topic of antenna and wave propagation. Okay. In the subject of antenna and wave propagation, let us first discuss about what is an antenna. I'm going to discuss about what is an antenna in the introduction. Your introduction will be containing antenna and its properties. Here you can read that an antenna is a transducer which converts radio frequency, which is in the form of electrical current, into electromagnetic wave of the same frequency. Here what I mean to say is an antenna is a transducer. What do you mean by transducer? Firstly, a transducer is a device which can act as both transmitter and then receiver. Okay. Your transducer sends a signal and at the same time it can receive the signal. Okay. This is your transducer. So here what I mean is an antenna can transmit a signal and the same antenna can receive the signal. Okay, that is what I mean by using the word transducer here. Okay. Next, in the next line what I say is which converts radio frequencies. I hope you guys are familiar with the electromagnetic spectrum. In the electromagnetic spectrum you are going to see different kinds of waves, right? Visible light, X-rays, gamma rays, and then your radio waves will be somewhere around here. Okay. So here what? Your radio wave will be in the form of a sinusoidal waveform. Okay. This is your radio wave, and I hope you guys are clear that if you are going to draw the axis to this sinusoidal waveform, your voltage will be on the y-axis, and then your current will be on the y-axis. When you are going to draw characteristics, you are going to check this, right? As your voltage is on the x-axis and your current will be on the y-axis. So here what I am going to say is your current is going to vary. So I am going to say this as my alternating current. Okay, if this is my alternating current waveform, then let me say this is my conductor for a single wire. In this conductor, my current waveform is passing through this wire. Okay. Whenever this waveform cuts the wire, you can see that an electric and magnetic fields will be generated. That means, what I mean is, alternating current generates a magnetic wave, and then this magnetic field in return induces an electric field. Okay, that is what I mean by electromagnetic wave. Okay. Going further, you can see that this electromagnetic wave which is generated by the alternating current of the radio frequency which is passing through your antenna will be in the same frequency as that of your radio wave frequency. Okay, that means I want to say that your radio wave frequency or the signal frequency which you are sending is never altered when you are transferring through an antenna. Okay. Next, coming to the next point, you can see that the magnetic field is created by alternating current. That is what I said. Magnetic field is created by an alternating current. That means your wire and then your alternating current will be passing through this wire, and then you are going to see an alternating current, and with the help of that alternating current you are going to see a magnetic field which is generated. Okay. And then your electrostatic field. How is your electrostatic field generated? Whenever you say a conductor, let me take, you might have been familiar with PN diode, right, which is your semiconductor. Here one side is positive, the other side is negative, which brings a potential difference. This potential difference says that electric field is more over here and then less over here. That means this difference is known as your potential, right? This is your potential. Here potential is high, here potential is low. That is what we say potential difference. So this potential difference in turn what is creating electric field. So that is what I am going to say here. Electrostatic field is created in your conductor. Okay. So after this, electrostatic field is created by the charge. Okay, that is what I am telling. Charge. You can see the relation, right? I is equal to dq by dt. Okay. I is equal to dq by dt. What do you mean by your q here? What does your q mean here? Here q stands for charge. Okay. So this static charge creates electric field, and then this current generates a magnetic field. So both are going to create an electromagnetic field. Okay. That is how your electromagnetic wave is going to generate it. Okay. They together constitute an EM wave. That is what I said. Thus an EM wave is generated by an antenna. Okay. Next. So in this point we are going to say that similarly an antenna can sense an EM wave. Here if antenna is generating an EM wave and transmitting, then it becomes a transmitter. It is sending a wave. But according to the definition, we mentioned it as a transducer. Transducer means along with sending the waveform, you need to receive the waveform too, right? So that is what I am saying. Say sense. Here the word or the term sense means it is going to detect the waveform. Detecting means it is receiving the waveform. Okay. The charge gets accelerated. That means when let me say this is your antenna and the waveform is coming inside. Okay. Okay. Every waveform just okay, just one minute. See, if this is your antenna and waveform is coming from here, waveform is flowing inside, and then what does this contain? Signal, right? If you have gone through your digital communication, we have gone through, there will be constellation diagrams and every waveform is associated with some energy. This energy will be received by the antenna, and inside this your antenna is a conductor. That is what we have said, taking the wire, right? Your wire can act as an antenna. Okay, any free wire can act as an antenna. If that antenna is a conductor or a wire, every conductor contains some charges. These charges will get activated or accelerated with the help of the energy that is present in the incoming wave. Okay, so in this point I am going to say that similarly an antenna can sense the EM waves. How it can sense? Charge gets accelerated by receiving wave. That is how in the receiving wave the energy is present, and that energy is going to accelerate the charge. Okay, I hope it is clear. And a wave signal is created at the receiving end. So with this acceleration you are going to see a wave, and later after getting deep into the topic you are going to see standing wave which is going to be created. Okay, we will see it later. After this, just go through this picture. This is your conductor with an alternating current. Okay, then what I said is firstly static charges will produce your electric waveform. This is your electric waveform. Next, your electric waveform, if this is your electric current, if the current is passing in this direction, your charges will transfer in this direction because both are in opposite direction. So after current is passing in this direction, according to the thumb rule, you can take your right hand and point the thumb in the direction of current. That means your fingers are curling inside, right? That is your fingers direction will show the magnetic field direction. Okay, this is your magnetic field direction. Now this is your electric field. Okay, charges are traveling in the opposite direction of the charge, opposite direction of the current. That is why I am showing this. Okay, from this diagram you can see that here in the next diagram you can observe that your electric field is traveling in this direction and your magnetic field is traveling in this direction. Okay, both are perpendicular to each other. That means what I am going to say is, if this is your magnetic field, your electric field, you can observe here, your electric field will be in this direction. Okay, it will be in this direction. Your electric field will be in this direction. Okay, this is will be your electric field. Okay, so both are in opposite direction. Now this waveform is going to create a loop. Okay, that is what I am going to show in the next figure. Okay, so this is your antenna. You can read here. This is your source. If this is your source, everything, your modulation and everything will occur in this source. Okay, you might have gone through analog modulation before the digital communications. So here your modulation and everything will be happening here. This is your source, and then this is your conductor or antenna. Here this is your electric field, and then your magnetic field will be in this direction. Like dots are going to represent the, it is going to projected inside, and then you will see intus. Intus, that means it is going inside, and the dots are going to show that it is coming outside. Okay, so here your electromagnetic field is going to be in this form. See, this is your transmission line. This is your transmission line, a line which is connected till the opening of the antenna. Your antenna is a device which is converting this current into EM wave. Okay, this opening or slit is known as antenna. Okay, this is your antenna, and then from the antenna you are seeing the radiated waveform, okay, into the free space. and we are going to see how these all are happening. Okay, don't worry. Next, in terms of your simple antenna can be represented in this way. In that antenna, what I have shown is source. This is your source which is going to be generated, and then you need every impedance device, source impedance. This is your source and this is your source impedance. From that, where we are going is transmission line. Since I have mentioned standing wave, you can see the standing wave. Okay, how does the standing wave react? When your waveform comes here, it gets hit here. Sometimes if the impedance is not matched, this impedance, source impedance and the load impedance are not matched, some of the waves will get reflected. This reflected wave is known as your standing wave. Okay, from the standing wave we are going to, this is your transmission line. Your transmission line is going to hold your standing wave. Okay, and then this is your antenna part, which is the opening. Okay, this is going to be radiation part. Okay, this is your impedance, this is your resistance, radiation resistance, and then this is your load resistance. Okay, what is your load here? Free space. Okay, next, the equivalent circuit of an antenna is characterized by the presence of the distributed constants. What are the constants we are used? Resistance, that is what I have said here, resistance. This is your resistance, this is your resistance, and then let me say this as your capacitor. Okay, capacitance, and then your inductance. Generally your inductance will be created, which will be an internal inductance, or you can add an external inductor component. Okay, going forward, from the figure you can observe that electric and magnetic field of the EM wave are perpendicular to each other. That is what I have shown in this figure, right? This is your figure, and this is your magnetic wave, and this is your electric field. So both are perpendicular in direction. Okay, that is what I have said, perpendicular in direction, and then of an EM wave are perpendicular to each other. Next, so since they are perpendicular, you need to remember a law. What is, you might be knowing dot product. Dot product is E dot H is equal to scalar product. Dot product is a scalar product. Where antenna, where electric field and magnetic field are vectors, then your dot product will be 0, right? Okay, here what you want to see is magnitude of E, and then magnitude of H, and then you are going to have cos theta. Okay, cos theta. If both are perpendicular, what is your theta? Theta becomes 90 degrees. What is the value of cos theta? Cos theta is 0. Cos 90 is 0 here. Okay, if cos 90 is 0, 0 is multiplied with the magnitude of electric wave and magnitude of magnetic wave. So what you are going to get finally? 0. Okay, this is going to show that your electric and magnetic fields are perpendicular to each other. Okay, going forward, these EM waves are generated carriers of information signal. Here off is missing. Okay, if you go through the presentation, you need to add, or I will correct it. Okay, information signals from the transmitter to the receiver. Okay, these EM waves are generated carriers of information signals from the transmitter to the receiver. Okay, these EM waves are going to carry the information from the transmitter to the receiver. Your transmitter will be an antenna, and then your receiver is going to be an antenna with matched impedance. Okay, impedance matching is must. Okay, no communication system can be established without employing or one or the other type of antenna. Every communication system, for example, take your mobile phone, which is a communication system, and then your laptop is also a communication system, right? Your mailing, you can do everything, right? You can send mails, or you can do almost both are practically like Zoom meetings, Google meetings. It is a communication, right? Both will employ antennas. Okay, so antennas may change depending upon the requirement of the frequency and bandwidth, but antennas must be there. That is what I have said. No communication system is possible without an antenna. So coming to the definitions of antenna, one thing I said is antenna is a transducer. There are many other definitions for antennas, and we are going to go through this. Okay, there are various definitions for the antennas, and they are as follows. First thing, an antenna can be a piece of conducting material. Similarly, what I have said, a free wire can act as an antenna. That is what I have said earlier, right? If a wire is a conducting material, you know wire is a conducting material. That is, you have used in network theory lab and EDC labs, wires can conduct electricity. Okay, so a piece of conducting material in the form of a wire, rod, or any other shape is an antenna. Okay, when it is excited. Okay, any wire, rod, or any other shape can work as an antenna if it is excited with the help of an external source. An antenna is a source or radiator of electromagnetic waves. That is what we are discussing till now, right? Electromagnetic wave is being generated. An antenna is a sensor. So here antenna acts as a transmitter. It is generating waves or radiating waves. Here antenna acting as a receiver. That is what the meaning of the transducer, right? The transducer acts as both receiver and the transmitter. Then finally what I said, antenna is a transducer. An antenna is an impedance matching device. That is what I have said in the previous line. Okay, you can backward it, and then you can see that what I have said is impedance should be matched. Okay, we will see how the impedance matching happens in the later. Okay, antenna is a coupler between the generator at the transmission line and the space, or vice versa. What do you mean by coupling device? The coupling device is a device which is going to help for creating a bridge between two components. That is, here I say that is free space, air. This is your air, right? And this is your transmission line. And you can see that here waveform is created. Once you go back to the diagram, you can see that your waveform, see, this is your source. Okay, this is your source, waveform is created and it is transmitted using a transmission line. And from here, this is the free space. What is there in between both? This is your transmission line. Till here, this is your transmission line and this is your free space. In between, you will have your antenna which is going to match this transmission line's impedance with the impedance of free space. Okay. So we call an antenna as a coupler. It is going to do the coupling job between them. Okay. That is what we have said here. Okay. Antenna is a coupler between the transmission line. In the similar way, from the free space, you are going to receive the signal and then you are going to transmit it to the transmission line and then the receiving device. Okay. In between, you will have a antenna which is going to be decoupler or coupler. Okay. Next, functions of an antenna. Okay. What do I mean by functions? Functions here means applications. How antenna functions or what are the applications of an antenna? It is used as a transducer. That is what we are discussing till now. Transducer for transmitting and receiving, for converting electric energy into electromagnetic energy. That is what we have said at the transmitter. And then at the receiver, what does it do? It will reverse it. That means it will receive electromagnetic energy and converts it into electrical energy. Okay. And from here, it is used as an impedance matching device. That is what I have said. Impedance matching between transmission line and the free space. That is for coupling and transmitter and with the free space. That is what I have explained right now, right? Next, it is used as a directional device. This is important thing. The directivity of an antenna is very important in every case. That means, let me say, here is the user. Okay, here is the user. So if your complete wave is transmitting from this, here is the sender. Here is the sender and here is the receiver. So here, let me say your waveform is going in a straight direction to the receiver from the sender. That means less energy is required. Otherwise, if your waveform is going in this way, and then comes to the receiver, then it is going to take more energy. So in this direction, this is the direction, right? This is one kind of direction and this is the other kind of direction. Directions are important. That is what I said. It is used as a directional device. Energy is radiated in the desired direction. If you are here, you are sending, and here is the receiver. So here direction is important, right? Instead of going like this, going here straight is good enough. Okay. Energy is radiated in the desired direction and suppressing unwanted direction. This is your unwanted direction and we will be suppressing it. Okay. Next, it is used as a temperature sensor. So along with the sensing of the incoming electromagnetic wave, it can also sense the temperature. Okay. It is used as a sensing. It is used for sensing in the presence of electromagnetic waves. Network theorems. Here we require network theorems. Please correct this. This is theorems. Okay. Network theorems. You might have gone through network analysis, right? NT, network theory subject. There you might remember some formulas like KVL, KCL. After KVL and KCL, what do you remember? Superposition theorem, Thevenin's theorem, Norton's theorem, reciprocity theorem. So all these theorems are important for antennas because when we have shown some circuit like what I have said is an antenna can be represented as an equivalent Thevenin circuit. If you got a Thevenin circuit, here you can apply all the possible theorems, reciprocity theorem, Norton theorem, Thevenin theorem, superposition theorem, everything theorem you can apply on this circuit, and you can obtain the values of other components. So let me say you got the source and then you got the load impedance. You want to know the source impedance. So how will you calculate? Using these formulas, okay? So coming back, functions of an antenna. We have done with the functions of antenna. Next, theorems. The following theorems are required to understand the properties of an antenna. First thing is Thevenin's theorem. Next one is superposition theorem, maximum power transfer theorem, compensation theorem, reciprocity theorem, reaction theorem. Please go through all the theorems and I will be giving a glance at it. Okay, what is your Thevenin's theorem? In the Thevenin's theorem, what you will do is you will replace all your sources with a internal impedance. Let me say it is an voltage source. What you will do? You will replace it with an open circuit. Okay, and if it is a current source, what will you do? You will replace with a short circuit. Okay, voltage source containing only voltage sources or current sources. Resistance can be replaced with an at the terminals A, B. The equivalent combination of voltage source with in a circuit. In the series connection, VTH. What is meant by VTH here? Thevenin's voltage. Okay. If you have a Thevenin circuit, what you will have finally? Thevenin's voltage, and then Thevenin's resistance, and then your load will be connected here. Okay. Complicated circuit can be made into the easy circuit using your Thevenin's theorem. Okay. Next, superposition theorem. What is your superposition theorem? If you have one or more sources in your system, you can take all the individual sources and then summing of the individual, all the reactances of the individual sources are going to give the complete source. Okay. Superposition theorem states that, you can read here, superposition theorem states that for a linear, notably concluding subcategory of a time invariant linear systems, the response voltage or current response means you are going to give a source and then your resistor is going to show some response, right? Whatever voltage across it or the current passing through it is going to be response of the resistor. In a branch of bilinear circuit having more than one independent source equals the algebraic sum of the responses. That is what I have said. If V is the whole source you are taking, then V1, V2, V3 across all the components. Let me say here you have a resistor and the voltage across the resistor is V1 and the voltage across the resistor V2 is V2. R2 is V2. Then adding all the voltages is going to give you a total voltage. Okay. Maximum power transfer theorem. What does maximum power transfer theorem states? It states that power transfer to an impedance connected to the terminals of a network is maximum if the impedance of the complex conjugate of the impedance seen looking back into the network from the two terminals. What I mean is, see, this is your source side. Okay. If this is your source side, this is your load. If you check it from this direction, whatever impedance you have, this is your source impedance, should be matching with the impedance of the load. Okay, that is what maximum power transfer theorem states. If these both impedances are matched, then we can say that maximum power is transferred from load, source to load. Okay, when you want to transfer maximum power from source to load, you need to match the impedances of the source with the load. Okay. Compensation theorem. An impedance in a network is equal to ideal voltage source if the generated voltage is equal to instantaneous voltage which exists across the impedance. That means you have seen an impedance in the circuit. Let me say this is my impedance and this is my source and the other things. Okay, this is my source. Okay. So what I am telling is an impedance in a network, this is my impedance, is equal to an ideal voltage source. This is my ideal voltage source. This impedance matches ideal voltage source. When it will match, let me say this is connected, these two wires are short circuited. What happens is, if there is V1 voltage here, what is the voltage across R1? R1 also going to have pole voltage, that is the total voltage drop is going to come across this one. So what happened here? Both V voltage source and voltage across the resistance both are same. That is what I am saying. Compensation theorem is equal to, okay, is equal to an ideal voltage source if the generated voltage is equal to the instantaneous voltage. What do you mean by instantaneous voltage? Here instantaneous voltage is the voltage across your resistor in the previous diagram. Okay, exists across the impedance due to the flow of current. How it will occur? See, let me say. If this is your resistor and some current is passing through it, you can calculate your voltage, right? V is equal to IR. That is what I say. When current flowing through the resistance, then you will have your voltage drop. Okay. Next, coming to reciprocity theorem. In a linear and bilateral network, V is your voltage applied across any two terminals, and current I in any branch. The ratio of V and I is the same as the ratio of V and I, the generator ammeter interchanged. What I mean to say is, here what I mean to say is, if you consider an element R in the circuit, across this, what is your R? R is equal to V by I. Okay, you calculated V by I across this resistor. That gives your resistance. Okay. Now, if you want to know what is the total impedance of the circuit, then what you need to do is you need to calculate the total current. That means what is the current passing into this voltage source and out of this voltage source. How much current is generated by this voltage source. Now you will have Vs is your source and then Is is your voltage source current. This is going to give some impedance. This impedance is equal to the value of the resistance at one single terminal. Okay. This is what your reciprocity theorem is going to say. V by I is called transfer impedance across according to the reciprocity theorem. That is Z12 is like, you might have gone through these, right? Port 1, this is your first port 1 and then this is your second port 2. If I want to know the transfer impedance, that is what is the impedance between these two terminals, I am going to get it as 1 2 from this port or 2 1 from this port. Okay. Next, what is your reaction theorem? Let me say here you are going to have electric field and magnetic field. That means you need two things. One is your electrical conductivity J and then your magnetic field M. You need both, right? So your conductivity of electric, this is your J is your electrical conductivity. So using this you are going to generate your electric field and then this M1 is related to your magnetic field. Okay, that is what I am going to say here. J1 and J2 and J1 M1 and J2 M2 are two sets of sources. These are your sources. Okay, the reaction theorem is defined as 1, 2. What is this? E1 is created with the help of J2. That means you have two sources. J1 is your current one source, electric field one source, and J2 is the second source of the E2. So J2 creates E1 and then M2 similarly creates H1. Okay, we are going to deal in detail with this. Okay, these things will be dealt in your Maxwell's equations as well, right? In the alternative way, if you are taking 2 1, second field will be created by the first source. Okay, how is this happening? Let me say this is your source. Let me say this is your source. Generally here we will discuss a topic of induction. Okay, inducing. What is inducing? Inducing is the property of producing some field. That means, let me say, electric field induces magnetic field. Okay, how these principles will help in your generators. When you are using your generators, you will see, you will generate one form of energy and you will get another form of energy. Let me say you are generating with the help of diesel or petrol is one form of energy and you are getting electrical energy. How is it getting? You will be generating magnetic field. When the conductor plates cuts these magnetic fields at regular intervals, this cutting will going to generate your electric field. Okay, that is what I am saying. Induction, inducing property is important. J1 induces E2. Similarly, M1 induces H2. Okay. So here J2 M2 and 2 1 represent the reaction field of E2 H2 to the sources J1 and H1. Okay, E2 H2 are created by J1 and M1. That is what is the property of induction, inducing. Okay. Next, what are the properties of antennas? What are the important characteristics of antennas? So antennas should possess the following properties. First thing, equality of impedance. If your impedance matched, everything will be transferred. Directional patterns. That means your direction should be particularly. That means if it is a good direction, then you are going to have. If it is in the shorter direction, less energy is required. If your direction is in this way, more energy is required. Okay. And then equality in direction. Equality of effective wavelength. What do you mean by effective wavelength? Let me say an antenna has the same effective wavelength. It is used for transmitting and receiving. Let me say this is your transmitter wave antenna, and then this is your receiver antenna. Okay. If there is a wavelength lambda to this transmitted wave, then your receiving antenna will also receive a wavelength or decode a wave of the wavelength lambda. It can't decode another wavelength. Okay, that is what effective wavelengths. Okay, all the above properties can be proved with the help of your reciprocity theorem. What is your reciprocity theorem? Reciprocity theorem states that one component, if you found the impedance at one component, it is going to be the total source impedance. Okay. Okay. With this, I am going to conclude this lecture. We will meet in the next lecture. Okay. Thank you. Bye.